Hey guys, this is it's kind of like it's 4:28 or something in the morning. I don't know if it's a download or like I don't know that there was I got some understanding of something. Uh, I kind of wrote it down, but I think actually I woke up specifically to make sure that like I did a video or something. So this is on um basically how the universe kind of operates. So the universe is the most patient teacher. And before we incarnate into the life that we are currently living in, we wrote a list of things we wanted to learn. And this list is basically the universe has the list. And as we go through life, the universe will set up situations that perfectly orchestrate scenarios that allow for this like teaching moment on what you're supposed to be learning. If you're completely asleep and eyes are shut, then the universe won't really tell you in advance what you're going to do because you can't see it or you don't have any understanding. So you'll just get like lessons. And each time that you fail to learn the lesson, that's okay. Universe lines up another one. And this is why you see people stuck sometimes in these loops of like doing the same thing, getting the same result, and then being confused as to why it happened. Then, for the people who have their eyes kind of cracked open, they're not fully awake. They're just kind of like I see a little bit. They're peeking. For these people, you get a short little kind of blip of like, hey, something's about to come. Here's your lesson. And so for those people, if they're perceptive and they have the chance to be perceptive, then they might realize what their lesson's supposed to be ahead of time. And they have the chance at potentially learning it early. Not that, like, if you learn the lesson early, then you move on to the next lesson. But if you don't learn the lesson early, you still get the lesson the hard way, the quote unquote hard way, which is the experience that will teach you the lesson. And you will kind of constantly keep this at a pace that you can handle. And it may not seem like it in the moment because you're like, well, I mean, I've gone through these like awful experiences. How is it that I can handle it? Well, you're still here, right? Like you're still doing stuff. And I think sometimes people will bite off more than they can chew when they're making their list. And when that happens, I think this is where they kind of go down the like suicide route of like, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do this, and they're like, I need to reset and like fix things so that I can get a more manageable load. And that'll happen. And then for people who are fully awake, eyes completely open, these people have a unique opportunity where if your eyes are fully awake or fully open, you can see very far ahead on what your lessons are going to be. And you can do something similar to what I've been doing, which is you see the lesson coming, and then you learn it because you see that this is a lesson coming. And then the next lesson lines up, and you see that one too. And then boom, you learn that lesson. And then you see the next one. Boom, you learn that lesson. And as you do this, you gain more and more momentum on understanding, and you start hitting these like, it's like as it's a positive feedback loop where it's like, I learned a lesson, I gained something. I learned a lesson, I gained something. I learned a lesson, I gained something again. And when you can hit this like critical threshold of like what happened in February. And I think it's still happening, like now, where I just keep seeing the lessons unfold in like successive orders, where it's like, I went through a whole bunch of experiences where I kind of banked the like lesson as like, okay, I've gone through this and I'm working on it. I've gone through this, okay, I'm working on it. I've gone through this, okay, I'm working on it. And when you're working on something, I don't think the universe gives you another version of the same problem. So it's kind of like homework, where an example, if you have abandonment issues and you've been abandoned several times, now you have homework to heal the abandonment issue and learn the lesson that the abandonment issue is trying to teach you. And if you don't learn and are not working on it, excuse me, if you don't learn and you're not working on it, the universe is like, okay, you didn't get it, so you're gonna have to go through abandonment again. And so then, it'll set up another thing for you throughout your life of like, here's another set of abandonment issues that you're gonna learn. And over time, if you're constantly working on the things, you will not get more abandonment issues. So that's kind of something really important to understand. It's like, the reason this is important to know is because if you are constantly working on yourself internally, and this is what I've been saying, you kind of pause your lessons while you're working on stuff internally. And what I mean by that is you won't get more of the stuff that you're learning because you're learning them. So there's no point. If you're doing the homework, there's no point in giving you more homework, right? I just saw 11:11 on my little timer thing. It's funny. But yeah, so the reason why you need to know this is because if you truly are like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to figure my shit out, it will make your life easier. Because the universe will stop throwing shit at you to get you to learn. So it's like, okay, you don't want to deal with abandonment issues anymore. Well, fucking learn what you're supposed to learn with the abandonment issue, and then the universe will stop throwing it at you. And it takes a lot of courage to do this. But when you do it, you're going to be so much happier because you learned the lesson. And so you can come to a scenario like what I've been doing, where I literally spent before 2020, I was learning stuff, but it was more of the hard way. But after 2020, after the huge incident, I had it kind of a unique opportunity to just effectively veg out, because of my situation. And instead of just vegging out and just wasting the opportunity that I got, because the universe will give you time to take breaks. And those breaks are like, hey, this is your moment. If you're going to be doing your homework, here's your moment to do your homework. Some breaks may be smaller, some breaks may be larger. It all depends on what you're going to be working on homework-wise. But the universe will make sure to give you breaks if you look for them. So, I got a really long break. Literally from 2020 until, basically now. Through to, I think, things are starting to pick up really fast now. On I've learned a lot, and I keep it's like the momentum is going really fast on things I've learned. So now I'm kind of going through this testing phase. Okay, I don't know if you guys have gone through this before in math, but I remember in high school, and this is important because this is I'm explaining the concept through this example. In math, there was a program that we got where you could pre-test. And this is, again, this was in high school in 2000, 2005 to 2006 or something, around that time. And this program, you're doing it on the computer, and basically it gives you a bunch of math problems, and if you answer them all correct, it'll give you the next set of math problems for the next thing that you're supposed to be learning. And you effectively can pretest out of different math, because if you know the math, you just move on to the next set of problems. And eventually, you could pretest out of the whole class, where it's like, okay, I've learned everything. Great. Well, what's left when you've learned everything for, in essence, this class, which is your life? It's fucking party time, baby. You got nothing left to learn. And what I mean by that is, you obviously still can, learn stuff on your own. But the universe is like, good job, you got your list done. Well, now, this is free study time. You can do whatever the fuck you want, because you learned everything. Now, did you learn everything in the universe? No, of course not. But in this life, you learned everything that you had on your list. And so because of that, you get to do whatever you want. Now, obviously, you need to use your understanding wisely. Don't start fucking, doing horrible shit to people, because then you're proving you didn't actually learn everything. And so the universe is like, now wait a minute, you said that you learned everything, and I thought I agreed, but actually the moment I let you do your own thing, you failed the final test, which is applying everything in your practice of your free period. So it's a little sneaky, where it's like, it will periodically check to make sure, okay, you applying it? I'm looking, I'm watching. Did you apply it? Oh, okay, you did, good job. And then it'll just leave you to your devices. But if it catches you fucking slacking, then it's like, I saw that you did not know the material as well as you thought you did. Alright, well, we're going to throw a little wrench into your party to make sure that you get it. And so the reason I'm bringing this up, oh God, I'm so glad I woke up for this. This is so important, because it means that if you truly want to have this dream life that you've always been wishing you had, you got to do the work first, then you get the party. Not before. Obviously, I'm not saying you can't live your life. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, the universe, once it has nothing to teach you, will just shower you in praise for the work that you've done. So, and I feel very strongly that that's kind of where I'm getting to. I don't know if I'm fully there yet. I'm still learning stuff. So clearly, I'm in that testing out phase of okay, you've caught up all the things that you've had on backlog to learn throughout your life. You learned all those things. Good job. So now you're caught up, and now you have the opportunity, because you're awake, to test the next things. And what I've been doing is I've been testing out of a lot of like bullshit that I could have had to learn the hard way. And you know what this really entails is paying attention and looking at every moment as, what can I learn from this? Because it starts off very, very minor and small, depending on how intuitive you are. So, an example, I learned from a person, you know, whether they were whether they were the person that I'm supposed to like interact with in the future or not. I learned from a person who gave me a smirk and looked at me that I was I was being impatient, and that I wasn't taking into consideration other people's feelings and perspectives when I was thinking about effectively the party that, you know, eventually is going to show up. Okay. And so because of that, I learned that, oh, okay, how can I handle the excitement of knowing that a party is going to happen, but knowing that it'll happen in the right timing, where I don't have control over when the party shows up, right? And so it's like, okay, you have to be yourself and you have to be patient. That's all the universe has been asking for me to do. It's like, hey, you've learned everything. Good job. Or at least you've done the things on your list. Not that I've learned everything in the universe, like I said, but you've done the whole list. Yeah, there's probably still some things that are like, and maybe there's like optional content or something. I don't know how the list works, but like, you know, obviously I'm still learning things. So clearly, like, the universe is like, you get a party, but there is still obviously stuff to learn. And so because of that, it's like, I learned a valuable lesson from a 10-second interaction where someone looked at me across the street and then smirked at me. That, like, most people can't fucking do that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying, like, this is what I'm talking about here, where, like, it can be that easy. Now imagine a scenario where what would be the hard version of patience, learning patience and timing. There's a lot of fucking things that could go on to teach you that in a varying degree of like difficulty over time. But I learned from the look, right? So I don't need to go through the harder difficulty stuff because I learned from it. And the more perceptive you are, the easier it is for you to pick up on the smaller micro things that give you the option of learning early. Again, this is the testing out that I'm talking about. Because if you figure it out on your own and you're like really diligent, you can figure out so much on your own. because we all have gifts. We have everything. We're equipped with all the tools we need to learn in advance. You just have to first catch up to your journey on where you're learning stuff, and then you need to start looking ahead. You have to be diligent. You have to take time for yourself to learn all these things. And if you do that, well, you eventually learn through the list, and our lists can be bigger or smaller, and they can have more challenging content or less challenging content depending on the specific class we signed up for. So, like, some people, they signed up for some really heavy shit. And then other people, they're like, look, I just want to learn like a couple things this life, nothing crazy. And it will show in the way in which they interacted in life. There are also, I think, this is also kind of a side tangent. Some people are really good at waking up early, and some people it takes a lot of effort to wake up, but once they do, it's like they're just on. So yeah. Anyway, my point with all of this is, if you understand the mechanics behind how the universe operates for you, because this is all teaching. The universe is the most patient teacher, and you are the student. And the sooner you realize you're the student, the sooner you realize you have homework you have to do. And the sooner you realize you have homework you have to do, the sooner you can start on your homework. No one gets out of homework. You're either going to do it the easy way or the hard way. And so, as soon as you start actively participating in the process, this means that you'll have more of your life where you can do the fun things because you get the party. You know, I don't know if anyone remembers the pizza party in, I think it was, I don't know if it was math class, but there was like a class where, like, if everyone got everything done, you get this party, and it's a pizza party, and everyone is invited, and it's like a celebration because everyone did it. Good job. You all get the pizza party. And wouldn't it be nice if everyone that was on the planet got the pizza party because we all learned? Wouldn't that be fucking awesome? And, you know, it's every single one of us has to do it. Can't just be some of us. So, yeah. Now, I would assume, because I don't know, but I would assume a pizza party on the scale of a whole world is probably really hard to make happen. It's probably possible. I don't doubt it, but it's probably really hard. Especially on a world like ours. Because, you know, based on kind of the difficulty with which we go through a lot of these scenarios in our life, This is a really hard school. This is a very advanced school to learn a lot of deep things. But it's also really rewarding. So, I don't know if there's been a pizza party in this kind of level of school. There might have been. No idea what that would look like. But wouldn't it be cool if we were the first planet to be able to, or the first school of this caliber to be able to have a pizza party? Like, how sick would that be? Being the first at, like, getting everyone to learn all the things they need to learn for their little lists. That'd be fucking cool. And also, as kind of a side thing, and I've noticed this as a trend, the more you've learned on your list, the quote unquote better a person you become. And what I mean by that is not, you're not like better in the traditional sense, but you're more aware. And by being more aware, you treat people with respect and dignity. And you realize we're all on the same plane. No one's better than anyone else. So when I say better, I mean you look at people as people and not animals, or, NPCs, or walking bags of like experience to loot. You don't look at that. Instead, you see every single person as a person. You see every single animal as a creature worth protecting. You see the environment as a part of us rather than a separate entity to steal from. That's like across all walks of life. The more you learn, the more in tune you become with a lot of these like concepts. It doesn't matter where you came from, doesn't matter what your language is. You see this all over the world. It's like, it's very obvious. And if you notice, the closer you get to your own personal party, the easier it is for you to just live your life in a happier state, because you're not fighting so much against nature, against your fellow humans, against the animals, against yada yada yada. Because you're becoming more aligned with everything. So, what's my point here? Do the work. You got homework. You got a backlog. Most of you have a backlog. There's very few people who are caught up and are working on advanced homework in the future by trying to pre-test out. So do the homework. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there are things that you've been putting off learning and facing. Start with something small and work your way up. Learn the lesson diligently like you would in school, because you are in school, and this is the most important lesson that you'll ever get. It is. So you got to treat it as seriously as you can. And I don't give a fuck about you know, what you believe, where you come from on your religious beliefs or spirituality. You could be like a worshiper of like a fucking pebble on the street. That's fine. I don't care. Um, or you could believe that this is the only life you ever have. Great, no problem. We can all learn the same way, which is taking the things that have happened in your life and asking yourself, what can I learn from this experience? It's that easy. Slow your roll. Take the ego aside. You're not some badass that is like immune to learning things. And sit down and start from the beginning. Start from your earliest kind of memories and ask yourself, what can I learn from this thing that I'm remembering? And if it's too hard in the beginning, start from the earliest, or from the most recent rather. What can I learn from what I just had experienced today? What can I learn from yesterday, the day before? And you just keep going. And you'll know you're done with all the backlog when you're caught up to the present moment and you have nothing to learn from your past anymore. I'm not saying you can't go back and learn extra. You can totally do that. But all the core things you're supposed to learn are sitting there in your past. It's all there, and you can start seeing patterns where it's like, oh wow, I didn't learn the first time. Oh wow, I didn't learn the second time. Oh my gosh, I went through this like 8 times. And I might be going through it a 9th time. Oh my goodness, like, I really didn't learn this. And don't take my word on it. You'll know. I don't have to prove anything to you. You'll see it. Okay, what? Is there anything else I'm supposed to say about this? Look, if you don't believe me on what I'm telling you, like, it's fine. You can obviously not believe me. But the advice I'm giving you does not need belief to be used. You can be this skeptical, like, this guy is completely insane, whatever, you know? That's fine. You don't have to trust me. I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to try. And as soon as you start trying and realize that what I'm saying is in fact correct, it doesn't matter about, all of the like ideology behind anything I'm saying, right? What matters is that it works. And when you know that something works, are you going to throw it away just because it came from a source that you're like, I don't know if I believe this guy? No, of course not. And if you do throw away a tool like that, well, that's silly. Like, you're just hurting yourself at that point. It's like, I'm going to be contrarian just because I don't like the fact that this particular thing was right. It's like, okay, well, you can go ahead and do it the hard way then. That's fine. Eventually, you might pick up the tool later when you don't think anyone's looking, and you're like, okay, this is actually kind of useful. And that's fine. Like, you don't have to You don't have to show anyone that you're using it. All that matters is you're using the tool so that we can all have a pizza party at the end, right? Um, so, yeah. This is probably one of the most important videos that I've probably ever made, just because this understanding is literally just how the universe works. Like I'm literally giving the keys on, like, hey, here is how you use what the universe does to your advantage in order for you to get to the happy life that you want. And again, I'm not saying you can't have a happy life before that, but there's a difference. If you're a well-adjusted, regulated person who has been doing the work as you go along, that's completely fine. And you'll just get the experiences as they come. But if you're someone who wants to test out early, the earlier you test out, the more time you have to just enjoy a free life. And what I mean by free is, like, literally just like you're free to do whatever you want, to experience all sorts of fun, enjoyable moments. It's like, yeah, of course. Why the fuck wouldn't you want to do that? Are you like a masochist? Like, I mean, I guess if you are, I mean, that's fine. In a way, that's kind of your way of having fun. Um, but like, I don't know. You know, I think in the end, most people would pick to have a party over, sulking in the corner or doing homework, you know. And don't get me wrong, there are those people that are like, is this all? I've learned everything from the book. Give me the next book. And I don't really know what happens with those people. Maybe they start learning from the next class before they even start. Like, wait a minute. Is it possible? Sorry, I'm just like thinking about this. Is it possible to learn future under. Oh, God, I'm getting chills thinking about this. I think it's possible to go to the next class in advance. But how? I mean, I guess if time is a construct for this reality, and outside of this reality, time doesn't work the same way, then theoretically, you could start working on the next life's lessons in this life. Huh. What the? That sounds insane. Like, I'm just thinking about it, like, the logistics behind that. Like, especially, like, we are in a really tough school, right? So, I mean, technically, if you're in a tough school, you do have the option of learning some really tough lessons here. So maybe, like, is that like, I'm thinking about like yogi, like, meditation practices and whatnot. I don't know if it necessarily works this way, but I'm just like spitballing here. Um, what if them giving up certain things is a means of learning future lessons? Okay, I didn't get any tingles from that, so I don't know. Maybe that's not right. I'm not sure. I mean, so I went from like, pretty practical stuff to like I don't fucking know what future life stuff would even look like. So like, take that last bit that I've been talking about with a grain of salt, honestly. Um, if you complete your list and you get the party, like, I mean, you've done everything that you could ever want in this life, and now you're just gonna kind of get to have the freedom to just enjoy yourself. Um, Obviously, if you learn more stuff, that's great, right? That means less things you have to learn in the future. Um, but also, I think it is important to enjoy yourself. Um, play and rest and, enjoying the moment is just as much a lesson as learning about some of this harder stuff. So, because it's at a certain point, it's like, hey, you've learned enough. Stop. You don't need to keep going. Um, you know, not that you can't like gain something from learning more, but do you really want to spend your entire life just learning new things without enjoying life? Probably not. I'm sure there's someone out there who's like, no, that's me. I totally will do that. It's like, okay, well, you go do that while everyone else has their party, right? Um, because maybe that is your party, and that's fine. Again, freedom. You get the free choice of whatever it is that you want to do. And I just want to be clear about something before I go. This is a pretty long video. When I say freedom, what I mean by that is the universe will provide you with all the tools to effectively allow you to do whatever you want. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys ever played like Age of Empires or any of these like earlier games that had like cheat codes, where once you beat a level, you get the cheat code to the level. And you can play the level again, which is fine. Or like in some cases, like in Age of Empires, I think it was 2 specifically. I remember like having cheat codes to like spawn in like units and stuff while in like a normal game. So think of like in a normal game, um, imagine if you had the cheat code in life to just give yourself $1 million repeatedly. Well, the universe like literally does that for you. Where it's like maybe you win the lottery, or maybe like you get this really great idea that then you make like you sell like, you know, 1 million or 2 million copies of something that's like took you like 20 minutes to make. And you're like, damn, that was fucking easy, you know? And you'll see people like this where they just like anything they touch turns to gold, and you're like, how are they doing that? Well, it's not necessarily them specifically doing it. It's the universe saying, here's your party. And so you're just seeing the people party. You're not seeing all the work that they put in behind the scenes to get to the point where they can do the party. So, and you're probably asking yourself, well, if that's the case, is every single person who's like really well off and successful having a party? No. There are some people who have parties where all they want to do is live on a beautiful little, like, a little house off a lake in like nature somewhere, and that's their party, and they just love the peace and serenity. And then on the flip side, there are some people who have a lot of money who their thing is learning how to not succumb to greed, not succumb to like the temptation to use your power in a negative way. And there are different people at different stages of that. But, this life has a lot of lessons from a lot of walks of life. The person who maybe went homeless for a few years, or, the veteran who went to war, came back, and ended up getting treated like shit when they came back. They're not going to learn the same lessons as someone who was given everything when they were young. Because the person who was given everything when they were younger, they have to learn very different lessons about this, like, what do you do when you have everything materially? It's a perfect opportunity to learn stuff internally. But if you don't do it, well, this is how you get people who just burn through like an entire like 3 or 4 generations worth of family's wealth. And then they like become destitute. It's because they didn't take the opportunity to learn when they could. So now they have to do it the hard way. And that's, again, that's a different kind of lesson. But anyway, I'm kind of getting off topic here at this point. Like, I'm tangentially on topic, but I've said really what needs to be said here. And now I'm just kind of dragging it on. So, thanks for watching this impromptu video. Hang in there. I want us to have a pizza party, because it would be awesome for us to all have a pizza party together. All right. Bye.